Shek, chau. Hong Kong's drug rehabilitation island, changing times at the remote haven. Less than 4 kilometers west of Hong Kong's bustling outlying island of chau is a much smaller, more remote island with a tiny, transient population. Shek, chau, once known as Coffin Island, measures roughly 1.5 km by 1.2 km. In 1962, it was handed over to the Society for the Aid and Rehabilitation of Drug Abusers, which established a treatment and rehabilitation center for drug addicts. To this day, the island is a restricted area that can be visited only by those with a special permit. The 925 ferry from chau approaches the pier under the gaze of a classical goddess statue on a nearby rock. A reproduction Chinese imperial-era gatehouse on the quayside brings to mind fictional desert islands portrayed in films. The ferry is the only connection between the island and the rest of humanity, transporting staff and vital supplies as it runs back and forth 3 times a day. Over the years, the island has witnessed the changing mores of the city's drug users, as can be seen by the wide age range of its ever-evolving cast of residents. In its embryonic days, the center catered for opium and heroin addicts, known as opiate cases, and this group still forms the largest part of the community. They tend to be older, aged 50 years and above, with long-term addiction problems. Residents at Shek, chau can leave at any time if they wish, he says. In contrast to his days at the CSD, he has no legal powers to enforce discipline on the island. He is staying in King House on the southern tip of the island, and provides a brief tour of his temporary home. Residents prepare their own meals, have access to training workshops, individual and group counseling, and sports facilities. It is not luxurious by any means, but there is access to a 3D home cinema, and air conditioning is allowed at night during the summer months. The center, adorned with mock Roman baths and faux marble sculptures, some standing in fountains and lily ponds, a legacy from a time when residents were engaged in stonemasonry projects to keep them busy, is also home to a few sheep, rescued dogs and cats, turtles and many exotic birds. The island also has its own reservoir. Only 2 of the 9 residential buildings are occupied by the younger PSA residents, and Lee suggests this imbalance stems from the fact that the Society's counselors work in government-run methadone clinics, so it's easier to intervene with the traditional opiate group. few know about this Roman-style bathing pool in Hong Kong, let alone the fact that it's part of a drug rehabilitation center that sits on a man-made island. What's even weirder is the fact that this classic structure featuring colonnades and stone statues, many built by recovering addicts, is surrounded by a mishmash of temples and decorative features inspired by traditional Chinese mythology. That's despite the fact that the small rock in the South China Sea has had its brush with fame. The late Princess Diana visited the island's recovering addicts twice, and the center has a building named after her.